Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for being late. To my moderators, Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you so very much for tuning in and for being moderators and doing such an amazing job always. To my super chat, I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. So, to the super chat, I thank you. If you want to give me your thoughts on this topic, which, by the way, is very interesting that nobody's talking about this. It's pretty unbelievable that absolutely nobody is talking about this. So, you have a situation where nobody is talking about a Democratic congressman, state senator. So nobody's talking about a state senator that is being arrested. So nobody's talking about a state senator being arrested for the most nefarious crime you can think of. Okay? And my question is, for the people who gleefully talked about a Florida Republican eventually being arrested for a story that when you actually hear the story, it's infinitely less, or I should say it's completely different in terms of what he's being accused of. This is absolutely a horrendous situation where you're looking at it's a horrendous situation where you're looking at a Senate Democrat who's arrested for just the most despicable crimes that you can't even really talk about. You can't explain them. You can't explain them because they're not part of YouTube guidelines, will not allow you to explain them. And absolutely nobody is talking about this. The New York Times, the MSNBC, CNN, they're not talking about this. MSNBC has a story on the Republican in Florida. You have local media. So Tony Navarrete needs to resign, as in today. Now, the 35-year-old Phoenix Democrat was arrested on Thursday night, charged with 6 counts of, and the most despicable acts you could think of. And you have this man, a Democrat, Roger Rabbit! You're doing a great job, Goodman. Don't ever stop. The world needs you. Thank you so very much, Roger Rabbit. Starting it off means a great deal to me, and I thank you. Like I said, Roger Rabbit, I can't do these segments without the super chat and the support, and I just thank you so very much. And also for your kind words. I know that on the uploads, I read your messages, and they're always so kind and positive and upbeat. And I have, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I have the best viewers. I really have the best, most, the kindest, most positive base of viewers. I'm so honored, and I mean this, from the bottom of my heart. I'm so honored, and it's such a privilege to speak to everybody here on, all the topics. I mean, I've never seen it. I've never seen this type of, this level of hysteria in media now. Because I think that more and more people are finding out that media continually lies daily, every single day. They either omit stories, they hide stories, they cover things up by not addressing a story that's detrimental to the Democratic Party. So, Roger Rabbit, thank you. Ringing Constitutional, stay awake. Ringing, thank you. Ringing Constitutional, thank you very much. Thank you, Ringen. I hope all is well. Roger Rabbit, Ringen Constitutional, thank you. Very, very, very much. You look at the way... I saw this when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. I saw that they wouldn't report on Bernie Sanders. They wouldn't, in 2015, 2016, when he was gaining momentum, he was gaining momentum. First of all, he's a tool of the Democratic Party. It's obvious. He basically is a socialist or democratic socialist Nancy Pelosi. He is part of the racket. And we can get to that in a second or later. I think he's a good person inside. I think Bernie Sanders is a good human being. I think he means well, but he's part of a racket. And I saw this. Everything they did to Trump, they did to Bernie Sanders. First, they tested out every tactic. And Bernard Sanders said, no problem. Thank you. May I have another? Thank you, Deborah Wasserman. May I have another? And you look, and Roger Rabbit, Ringen Constitutional, thank you so very much. You look, ladies and gentlemen, and it's like, who is talking? Does anyone know who this man is? Does anyone know? Like, if you ask the average morally superior liberal Democrat, do you know who State Senator Tony Navarrete is in Arizona? They'll say no. If you ask them, have you heard of the Arizona recount? Yeah, it's an affront to democracy. And that's another thing. Democracy is not defined by your apoplectic sensibilities. This is another thing. He's harming democracy. I was like, no, democracy is not harmed by any one person or any one idea. As long as you have competing viewpoints where you can actually express those viewpoints, democracy is just fine. Well, I guess if anyone harms democracy, it'll be the morally superior Democrats who want to stifle and suppress speech on every issue. But there's not, like, you can't suppress this story. So I don't even know if Fox News talked about it. Let's see if Fox News talked about it. Because you know that you have, let's see, Fox News. MSNBC did nothing on it. CNN did nothing on it. New York Times did nothing on it. And you have, let's see if Fox News did any segment on this. We've reached a point, ladies and gentlemen, where discourse, political discourse in society, in American society, is based solely upon emotion. That's it. It's only a battle for emotion. It's not a battle for reason or logic or truth. It's a battle for emotion. If you can conjure up or fabricate this indignation, outrage, Trump, outrage. This was never like, I long for 2016. 2016 is the reason we are at where we're at today. After 2016, after we experienced a Democratic primary that cheated Bernie Sanders and Clinton losing to Trump, Will Beard, thank you. Will, thank you so very much for being here for this long. Will, thank you. It's greatly appreciated. It means a lot to me. So you've watched from the very beginning, and I appreciate that. Will Beard, thank you. Thank you so much. Yet 2016, ladies and gentlemen, Will and everybody here, 2016 was the beginning of the end for American political discourse. It was the beginning of the end. We crossed the Rubicon. We entered a new realm, a twilight zone, where the cat was out of the bag, the toothpaste was out of the tube. What other idioms can I use? We'll never be the same until we have a functioning Republican Party that opposes the Democratic Party's viewpoint. And we don't have a functioning political system because it's based more on emotion and feelings and sensibilities and hiding stories, actively suppressing stories, actively covering up and suppressing stories. Mark, hello. Insubordinate, hello. Segment, hello. We don't have, like, before 2016, I could enjoy a football game. I could watch the Oscars. I could watch the Emmys. And by the way, Andrew Cuomo won an Emmy. That should tell you everything about Hollywood. I could have polite discussions with friends about politics. If it was a heated discussion, so be it. But there was a limit. And it wasn't part of anyone's identity. Politics was not part of one's identity. Politics was one of many things that just happened to exist. It was just one element of life that stayed in a drawer, and that was it. One element of life. Only one element of life. And you didn't have to, like, Major League Baseball, the notion that Major League Baseball would move from one city to another because of a law that was passed by Republicans that was actually upheld by the Supreme Court. You would never imagine that taking place, ever. Ever. The notion that a Democrat would be cheated in his own primary, a Democratic candidate, it was not fathomable. It was something that never... there's so many things now, like, there was no such thing as canceling people. Before 2016, these are all tactics, like, when the Democratic Party, when liberal ideology was basically... Liberal ideology basically ended in 2016. You had 8 years of President Obama, which showed that although we still have horrible things we have to deal with in this country, that we had achieved as a country, you know, a society where the most powerful man in the world was the first African American president. We had achieved something profound with and that was a beautiful thing. I don't like President Obama, toppling a leader in an authoritarian in Libya and then causing it to become a failed state with a decade of sorrow and suffering and chaos and people being bought and sold. You can look at President Obama's policies. His worst mistake was infinitely more egregious than anything Trump did. But that's the power of media. But what President Obama achieved was essentially the end of liberal politics. Democratic politics is based upon grievance, emotion, this cult-like groupthink that says, everything must be for the greater good. And, we stand by these lofty ideals except when it's Biden. Kavanaugh, Trump, you better believe it. Biden, not so much. If he gets accused, we go after the accuser. I mean, there's a million examples, too. There's a million different examples. Yes! Will Beard, the bird. The bird on Bernie's podium. Bird is the word. Ringing. Yes! Wow, you've been here from the very beginning. Roger Rabbit. Shane, hello. Ringing. Will Beard, you've been here from the very beginning. I remember that bird. I want to tell you something. I was so into Bernie Sanders, I would get emotional watching that. I'm telling you, I was so naive and gullible 5 years ago, 6 years ago. It was unbelievable. See, they say that about Trump, but the thing is, Trump actually, Trump delivers. That's what they despise, and that's what they don't really understand or want to accept or acknowledge. He delivers, or he tries to deliver. Negotiate a deal to bring Americans home, he did that. But I remember the bird and the podium. And then I didn't know DWS had the the 50 cal. The bird and the podium, that's right. The 308. DWS with the 308. What's that laser dot? Why is there a laser dot on the little bird near Bernie? Oh my God. It's DWS. That's right. That's right. I forgot what I was doing. Fly, plop. Oh no. You look, Giacomo, he did. You look at everything that's gone on. And it all started in 2016. It all started in 2016 because Democratic politics ended. It ended because what happened was they had 8 years of President Obama. And the thought process, the rationale was, well, we have taken over, our side has taken over the future of the country. Our side, the rational, logical, NATO intervention, complete debacle and catastrophe. Our side, our duplicitous, kicking out more people than ever. We can go through the list of things. Senate report on that topic. Private servers with top secret intelligence. These are all things that Democrats don't care about, but they deported more human beings than any president ever. And Trump is the bad person. They had policies that were even worse than what happened in President Trump's administration, which I was against separation. That was a horrendous policy. What took place under President Obama was even more nefarious. Or horrendous. Actually, it was nefarious. And there was a Senate report that talked about that. But see, again, they never acknowledge. Nothing is ever acknowledged by the left. Nothing. So when Bernie Sanders was cheated, and 8 years of President Obama did not lead to the first female president, and the landslide that was promised did not happen, they were traumatized. They were absolutely traumatized. And they realized, we will never let this happen again. We will never let Trump or anyone like Trump win again. In fact, we'll make sure that a Republican doesn't even win. And we'll make sure that we can utilize every possible conceivable advantage, and we'll infuse politics into every element, every aspect of society and life. If we can infuse politics into every element of American life, we don't need logic or reason. We can just we could go ahead and utilize just sheer groupthink and peer pressure, and that ought to work. And you see what happened. It barely worked. They've leveled everything, the kitchen sink, everything at Trump, and it barely worked. Now, imagine if you had a functioning Republican Party. Now, imagine if you had a functioning American political system where, imagine if you had a different viewpoint that you could, like, imagine if any, like, hysterical, obsessive, fanatical claim or viewpoint made by a Democrat was countered by the Republican Party. Or, like, imagine if you had, like, Democrats saying, well, Trump committed treason, and Republicans saying, are you out of your mind? For what? Because you fabricated Trump Russia? They literally purchased, they were so traumatized, they were able to purchase a dossier, and they were able to utilize this hysteria, this Red Scare hysteria, and these are the liberals. The liberals utilized McCarthy-era Red Scare tactics. The liberals. We have a left that is like the most bizarre left wing in politics that's ever existed. The liberals in our country side with the intelligence agencies. And the media sides with, well, I mean, that's the case in most countries, but the establishment, the intelligence agencies. You have Brennan and Clapper and Comey, who are voting for the same side as Bernie Sanders, AOC, and the furthest left leftist. It makes no sense at all. But the reason is because there's one consideration, one goal of morally superior liberals. It's not reason or logic. It's distort facts, data, basic logic into an emotional, some kind of emotional, an argument based solely upon emotion that you could level at your political opponent to attain power. That's it. That's it. They don't care about logic or reason. I heard this from people who were very smart people, like, your support for Trump is hurting me. Like, what are you talking about? How are you, like, how? What? Well, he said it was a hoax. You don't even listen to anything he says anyway. Why would that have affected anyone? Trump is at the same simultaneously this buffoon that nobody should listen to, and somebody with his words that causes misinformation, or it causes people to believe misinformation. Then there's another thing. Misinformation. This is before 2016. Misinformation would be easily deciphered, or an issue. That was never an actual problem in our world. The notion that misinformation causes people to lose their lives, it has to be the most irrational argument that's ever been created. It is completely irrational. Misinformation doesn't ruin anyone's life, because it's your responsibility as a human being to utilize logic and reason And if you lack the logic or reason and you believe something that's not true and you suffer the consequences, that's nobody's fault but your own. When they say misinformation, nobody has altered their viewpoints more than the experts who have been constantly wrong. You do this, everything will be fine. 6 months later, you do this, you just do this, trust us, you do this, everything. 10, you do this, you trust us, you don't. 2 years later, trust us. 10 years later, trust us. It's like you've been wrong always. Then they double down and they say, well, we're so wrong, we're right. We are so wrong that we're right. You just didn't give us enough trust. And so it's like you have this story. I think I'm like the only person really focusing on it on the planet. You have this story, and it's like it's really a microcosm of the Democratic politics and media. It's if the reverse were true, if it was a Republican, a state Republican in Arizona, they would tie it to the Arizona recount. Now, I want to know, how do you disparage the recount now? They say, well, there's two different things and nothing to do with the recount. Yeah, but you're not showing any indignation. You had in your midst, you had in your political party a potential monster just roaming around. And I mean, this person had a really great week. He caught you-know-what, even though he was fully you-know-what, and then he got arrested for you-know-what. The worst thing you could ever imagine. The most disgusting, horrendous, despicable, nefarious thing you could ever imagine. So, he's having a pretty bad week. But you're not going to get, the more they're proven wrong, the more they double down on their irrational claims. Trump he's ruining democracy. He hasn't been in office for, it's literally been like, we're approaching 1 year. We are approaching 1 year. In 4 months, it'll be, September, October, November, December, 4 months from now. 4 months from now, we'll be approaching a year of Biden in office. Please tell me how the country's better. We have soaring inflation. We have crime through the roof. I mean, every day in New York, there's like some horrendous, terrible, terrible thing, an atrocity. And strict Second Amendment laws that don't work. Almost every liberal political vantage point is from empirical data is proven wrong. From real life empirical evidence is proven wrong. Okay? Curbing the Second Amendment does not protect you from criminals who don't care about laws. We see this. Innocent people are losing their lives every single day in New York. And it also happened to be the epicenter of the pandemic. So I don't they're going after DeSantis now, but DeSantis is fantastic, by the way. They're going after DeSantis. Oakworm, thank you. Oakworm, thank you so very much. Greatly, greatly appreciated. I do appreciate that. Oakworm, thank you. Hope you're having a good night. Hope you're having a good evening. I love the emoji. Thank you. Oakworm, thank you again. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. I appreciate the generosity. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I can't do these without your support. And I'm thankful for your support. And I'm thankful for, I'm telling you, Oakworm, everybody here, my viewers are awesome. I look also, I'm telling you something. Like I've consistently had the most positive, wonderful, kind, appreciative, awesome viewers. I really do. You look at the $20 million venture capital people, Oh my God. It's like a nightmare. The comment section is a nightmare. It's like a nightmare. Oakworm, thank you very much. I'd like to say that, like, I really enjoy talking to everybody here, and I'm very thankful. I'm very, very thankful that I have, the viewers that I do. I really am, because the one thing, because I know I know I still have progressives that listen to me, and I'm thankful for that. I have a great many conservatives. I have supporters of President Trump. I think probably the majority of people who listen to me support President. There's people who don't like President Trump who still listen to me or watch the channel. And I appreciate all of that. Because I don't like, one thing about me, it's like, I don't really like, if I defend Trump, it's because I'm using logic. I'm not like, I don't care about the Republican Party. I don't care about the Democratic Party. It just so happens that a great many Republicans are on the right side of, make more sense. Oakworm, thank you again. Thank you. When they say, like, when people try to critique Tim Pool, for example, and Tim Pool is fantastic, and they try to critique him, and it's like, they're like, well, on the left, like, well, you don't go after Republicans. Well, the Republicans don't, engage in Red Scare, hysterical, fanatical, Trump-Russia nonsense for 4 years. They didn't fabricate that Biden, worked for another country. You can look and actually see, like, in his son's emails, there's incriminating data there. It's not like it was purchased by Trump. The dossier was purchased by Democrats. Like, you can look. These are basic logic. Basic logic. When somebody says experts say Trump worked with Russia. Well, who cares? That's an appeal to authority, and it's a logical fallacy oftentimes. Almost always, actually. Your arguments cannot be predicated on appeals to authority or experts who are always wrong or almost always wrong. And then when they're caught being wrong, they then say, well, the data changed. Yeah, but you didn't, there was no caveat when you made that grandiose claim to listen to me at all costs. When they say, when they make a claim, when morally superior liberal Democrats make a claim, it is you listen to me or people will lose their lives. Or you listen to me or democracy is at stake. Trump is ruining democracy. It's like, well, so yeah, that you've redefined democracy to align directly with what benefits you politically. So that makes no sense. That makes no sense. This is a Lincoln project. This is like a Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld tactic. It's a tactic used by Republicans. Roger Rabbit, thank you again also for the super thanks on the upload. I just saw that now. I really appreciate that. I'm thanking you right now, Roger Rabbit, on the upload. Roger Rabbit, everyone here, Oakworm, thank you again. Have you been watching, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on with Andrew Cuomo? Ringing Constitutional, thank you as always. Have you been watching what's going on with Andrew Cuomo? It's unbelievable. Now they're finding out his brother at CNN, Mr. Fake Weights, who goes like this with 100 pounds? Or I think it was like 150 pounds, something like that, or 120. It's impossible. Even like, that would be difficult for the world's strongest man to just go like this the way he did with the weights, the tricep extension. It's like not happening. Who's watching this? Like, they are... Andrew Cuomo, his career is done. No more book deals, no more Emmys. Okay, typical Democrat gets the book deals and Emmys for ruining his state. Phil Murphy is the new Andrew Cuomo. Phil Murphy and Andrew Cuomo have to be the worst. They make Newsom look like George Washington. Phil Murphy and Andrew Cuomo make Newsom look like Winston Churchill. Or like, like just the greatest leader of all time. That's another thing. It's like you look at these like lofty left-leaning, it's like ideologues. Okay, you don't like Winston Churchill. You don't like George Washington. You don't like, they even go after Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, these are all like legendary, heroic individuals. Who do you like? I want to know who you like. Who's your, who? President Obama? Okay, look what he did to Libya. Look what he did to a number of countries. I can't even, this YouTube policies, I can't talk about it. And then, well, every benefit of the doubt, a plausible deniability, every single tactic to evade responsibility or culpability for something horrible. Like, Churchill said this, and he did this, and this revered world leader did this. It's like, well, who do you revere? You always vote Democrat. You want to know what the Democratic Party did? They cheated their own candidate. You're okay with this? How are you okay? How are you okay with this if you're this morally superior left-leaning person? How are you okay with this? It's like there's hope, ladies and gentlemen, there's hope. This new generation, there's actually a lot of very intelligent people. So, like, there are a lot of really intelligent people in their early 20s. The people who've, like, lost it completely are in their early 30s. So not my generation and not, like, 2 generations below me or 2 worlds below me. I would say probably the early 30s left-leaning liberal or leftist, that's where the that's where the fanaticism is at, and it's an interesting world. It's an interesting mentality. I don't know how did the world go from the Ramones and the Clash and the Pistols to if you don't follow expert consensus, everyone will think badly of you. How did that happen? One day I saw Billy Idol in Los Angeles. This is funny. I saw Billy Idol in like my early 20s walk into a nightclub. And I'm telling you, he walked in like this. He walked in, I swear, he walked in like that into the nightclub. And you look at Billy Idol and you say, well, did he really, or Alice Cooper, or you could look at is there an Alice Cooper into like, who today, I'm sure that there are artists today, I don't know any art, I don't really, listen to music like from today's world, but who today doesn't really care in music? Now you have, my bassist likes Trump, so we kicked him out. My drummer's cousin wrote something nice about Tucker Carlson. I'm sorry, everybody. Please forgive me. Our Rock the World tour will be on, from September 7th to... But please forgive us. We didn't mean to insult anyone with our drummer's cousin who likes Tucker Carlson. He wrote a mean thing, and for the hurt and the pain that we caused everybody, I'm sorry. It must have been so difficult to realize that our drummer's cousin likes Tucker Carlson. Please, buy our records. What happened? What happened to music? What's going on? What kind of dystopian nightmare have we turned into as a world? Where are the pistol? Where's the Johnny Rotten of today? The man doesn't exist. Howard Stern would never have made it. The great Don Rickles, the great Sam Kinison, never, nothing. Even Eddie Murphy at first. I want to talk to you. He would never have made it. Offensive. Everybody's offended. Who cares? It's good. It's a good thing to be offended. It used to be a great thing. Sam Kinison, one of the great comedians of all time. One of the great comedians of all time. They it's like, what happened to our world? What happened to this world? When did it become this dystopian nightmare? It's going documentary. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you so very much. God bless. I think I'm going to head out. Be here, I would say probably around, I'll probably do a video early, like maybe around 4 a.m. this morning, Pacific. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to my super chat. Thank you, Eric. Thank you so very much. Eric and Luke, thank you. And Eric H526, thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless. To my super chat, thank you. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Definitely look for the upload tomorrow at around, probably early in the morning, probably 4 p.m. Pacific, your time. Thanks so much, everybody.